We all grew up watching Lucille and Desi Arnaz make the whole world laugh. Together, they built an empire and redefined the modern television family. But behind the scenes, their real-life ending was anything but a sitcom. Once the cameras stopped rolling, the life they created slowly began to fracture. The couple who showed the world how love could survive through laughter were quietly struggling to find that same happiness behind closed doors. Even though they stayed close long after their divorce, their final chapters were marked by a quiet, tragic fade the public rarely saw. So, how did the most famous couple in television history reach such a heartbreaking end? Join us at Royal Time of Hollywood as we go behind the scenes of the love, the loss, and the final curtain call of Lucy and Desi, the marriage that changed television. Their story began in 1940 on the set of the RKO film Too Many Girls. Lucille was 28, a rising star, and Desi was just 23, a charming Cuban bandleader. The attraction was electric, and within 6 months, they eloped. But marriage didn't magically erase their problems. Desi's constant touring with his band and Lucy's early studio calls meant they were often like strangers passing in the night. Lucy poured her energy into making the marriage work, hoping that starting a family would anchor them. However, she suffered several miscarriages in those early years, each loss chipping away at her optimism. By 1944, pushed to the edge by Desi's drinking and wandering eye, Lucy filed for divorce. Yet, they couldn't stay apart. They realized that if their careers were pulling them in opposite directions, the solution was to work together, building the Desi-Lu empire. In 1948, Lucy's success in the radio comedy My Favorite Husband caught the attention of CBS. When they wanted to move it to television, Lucy had one condition: Desi had to play her husband. The network was skeptical, doubting audiences would accept the pairing of an all-American redhead and a Cuban musician. To prove them wrong, the couple launched a vaudeville tour, forming their own production company, Desi-Lu. The audience loved them, and in October 1951, I Love Lucy debuted. It was a revolution. Desi transformed television production by insisting on filming on high-quality motion picture film and pioneering the multi-camera setup before a live audience. Desi was a business genius. By reducing their weekly salaries in exchange for ownership of the filmed episodes, they invented the concept of television syndication. While Lucy kept the world laughing with her fearless physical comedy, Desi grew Desi-Lu into a powerhouse that eventually owned major Hollywood studios. But the weight of the empire was heavy. The pressure of running the company, combined with fame and Desi's recurring infidelities, wore the marriage down to its breaking point. The breaking point. In 1960, shortly after filming the final episode of the Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour, Lucille filed for divorce for the final time. The cracks had become chasms. Lucy described the last 3 years of their marriage as a nightmare of instability and anger. Desi struggled with his dual personalities, the charming lover and the reckless, drinking gambler. Desi admitted the relationship had deteriorated under the constant proximity of working and living together 24/7. One evening in his office, he finally said the words out loud. He wanted a divorce. After a fierce, emotional confrontation, they never lived under the same roof again. 2 years later, Lucy bought out Desi's share of the company, becoming the first woman to head a major studio. Hidden struggles and Desi's final years. Away from the spotlight, Desi's health began a slow decline. He suffered from chronic knee pain from his youth and intestinal issues that plagued him for decades. In the late 1960s, a freak accident at his home in Baja, California, nearly killed him when a floor collapsed and he was impaled by a tree stump. He survived, but he was never the same. His battle with alcohol remained a shadow over his life. After the death of his second wife in 1985, his children urged him to finally seek help. Meanwhile, their son, Desi Arnaz Jr., was struggling with his own demons. Growing up in the shadow of giants, he became a father at just 15 and later battled serious drug and alcohol addiction. Through it all, Lucy remained his fiercest protector, helping him through rehab and recovery. The tragic final act. Despite the divorce and new marriages, Lucy and Desi's connection never truly faded. In 1986, Desi was diagnosed with lung cancer. During his final days, Lucy visited him in the hospital. In a scene that felt like echoes of their glory days, the two sat side by side watching old tapes of I Love Lucy, laughing at the world they had created together. 2 days before he passed, on November 30th, which would have been their 46th wedding anniversary, they shared one last phone call. Lucy told him she loved him over and over. Desi replied, "I love you too, honey. Good luck with your show." Desi Arnaz passed away on December 2nd, 1986. A few days later, at a tribute to Lucy, a letter Desi had written before his death was read aloud. In it, he gave Lucy 90% of the credit for their success, calling her the heart of the show. Lucy was visibly overwhelmed by the tribute. Time was running out for Lucy as well. In April 1989, she was rushed to the hospital with a tear in her aorta. She survived a grueling 7-hour surgery and seemed to be recovering. However, on April 26, 1989, she suffered a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm and passed away at age 77. Lucille Ball was eventually laid to rest in her hometown of Jamestown, New York. In the end, the story of Lucy and Desi closed the same way it began, with a love that changed the world and a bond that even death couldn't fully sever. Were you a fan of I Love Lucy? What is your favorite memory of this iconic duo? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood history, don't forget to like, subscribe to Royal Time of Hollywood, and hit the bell notification so you never miss a story.